Hare Krishna. I'm very happy to be with you. Everyone understands English?
Yes.
Okay. So, ja, bringen Sie mir etwas Wasser.
Warm oder kalt? Oder
Ist gleich. I have a topic in mind, but if you have any questions or if you want to hear about a certain topic of the Bhagavad Gita, please let me know. Something you are. Okay. Cultivating spiritual life means a lot of education. And sometimes we speak about broad principles. Sometimes we speak about details, but well, details that are important. I will start with reading a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. Chapter 16, the divine and the demoniac natures. So in the beginning of the 16th chapter, Lord Krishna in 3 verses mentions so many divine qualities. Then I will speak on one of these qualities. And that's Ksama, forgiveness. Chapter 16, verses 1 to 3. Yes. So I will read the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Abhayam Sattva Samsudih.
Abhayam Sattva Samsudhi.
Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti.
Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti.
Dhanam Dhamma Sajahyascha.
Dhanam Dhamasya.
Svadhyayastapahyavam.
Swadhyayastapa.
Ahimsa Satyama Kodas.
Ahimsa Satyama Krodhas.
Tyaga Santarapashanam. Daya Bhute Sadoluptvam.
Daya Bhuteshvaloluptam.
Mardavam Shri Rich Achapalam.
Madhavam Hirachapalam.
Teja Kshama Triti Chacham.
Chareja Samadhuti Shacham.
Adroho Nati Manita.
Amadro Manita.
Bhavanti Sampadam Devim.
Bhavanti Sampadam Devi.
Abhijatasya Bharata.
Abhijatasya Bharata.
I can repeat a word for word translation. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Abhayam, fearlessness. Sattva samsuddhi, purification of one's existence. Jnanam, in knowledge. Yoga, of linking up. Vyavastiti, the situation. Dhanam, charity. Dhamma, controlling the mind. Cha, and Chahya, performance of sacrifice. Cha, and Tvatyaya, study of the Vedic literature. Tapa, austerity. Arjavan, simplicity. Ahimsa, non-violence. Satyam, truthfulness. Akrodha, freedom from anger. Tyaga, renunciation. Santihi, tranquility. Apaisanam, aversion to fault finding. Daya, mercy. Bhutesu, towards all living entities. Aloluptvam, freedom from greed. Madhavam, gentleness. Re, modesty. Achapalam, determination. Teja, vigor. Ksama, forgiveness. Teti, fortitude. Saucham, cleanliness. Adroha, freedom from envy. Na, not. Atimanita, expectation of honor. Bhavanti, are. Sampatam, the qualities. Devim, the transcendental nature. Abhichatasya, of one who is born of. Bharata, the son of Bharat. The translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, the performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. That it's a long purport. And the first paragraphs, the first 3-4 paragraphs are about the sannyasis, the qualities of the sannyasis. Abhayam, sattva, samsuddhi, fearlessness, that abhayam, sattva, samsuddhi, purification of one existence, and cultivation of knowledge, jnana yoga vyavastiti. But then there are many other qualities described, but I want to speak on just one of these qualities, and that's forgiveness, ksama, that Srila Prabhupada, it's a long purport, that he writes somewhere about ksama, ahimsa, and then satyam, akrodha, yeah, forgiveness, it's further. But this is not the only verse where Krishna speaks about forgiveness. That he speaks also on forgiveness in the 10th chapter, verse 3. Verse 3. And there speaks about all these qualities which are created by him. And one of these qualities is forgiveness. That and yeah, intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt, and delusion, forgiveness. And forgiveness is also ksama in Sanskrit here. And ksama in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that ksama, tolerance and forgiveness should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offenses of others. That's forgiveness. That's excusing the offenses of others. Okay. Omagyanatilandasya Chinansalasya Sexuamritam Yena Tasmai Sigurvainam Chitchaitanyamanavistam Stapitam Yena Bhutalishvam Rupakadamyam Dadanti Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakamanam Shigum Vaishnavam Sam Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanalita Shivasha Kam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Banga Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Ranta Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanashvari Vishabhani Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriya Pankha Kalpta Vishake Pasan Vivasha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Nam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatyai Desatarani. Srila Prabhupada ki. I remember it as a Christian. I learned that God will forgive you if you forgive others. That's interesting. That so our main practice is the chanting of the holy names, right? But to chant the holy names, we must chant with attention. That but many times when we chant, there is no attention. That because we are disturbed by so many things. That And these things come again in your mind. That so Krishna gives us in Bhagavad Gita the purpose of yoga. What's the purpose of yoga? You know? What's the purpose of yoga? That why does Krishna speak in the 6th chapter about yoga? Astanga yoga. What's the purpose? Don't know. No. That's Krishna says, Shita Atmana Prashantasya. Shita Atmana. You have to control the mind. And then you are peaceful. Prashanta. And if you are peaceful in your heart, then Paramatma Samaita. You come in contact with Paramatma in the heart. That's the purpose of yoga. This is not the ultimate purpose of spiritual realization, because finding Krishna in the heart as Paramatma is an intermediate goal, because it's one step higher than just realizing we are Brahman. Krishna, as the super soul, is in the heart and controls material nature. It's nice, but it's not the goal. You are not going to become liberated from the cycle of birth, of death, by realizing that Krishna is in your heart. No. For this, you need a higher realization, Bhagavan. You need to know the yogis. If they have this realization, they must come to the point that the question, what is this super soul? The super soul is an expansion of Bhagavan, Krishna. It's all-pervading aspect. But Sita Atmana, we have to control the mind, or you cannot find Krishna. You cannot find Krishna in your chanting if you are not chanting with attention. It's not possible. Therefore, that platform of becoming peaceful means becoming free from the duality, the dualities of good and bad. That dualities. Krishna says that in 7:28. 7:28. Jesant van de tampapam chananam punya karmanam detant fama nirbhaktabhajantim amritavta. Persons who have acted piously in previous life and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion. Dualities of delusion are freed from this duality. They engage themselves in my service with determination. So you cannot come to the platform of devotional service if you are too absorbed in this duality in this material world. Duality means good and bad for the body. It strengthens your bodily consciousness, which is against spiritual consciousness. If you are absorbed in what's good and bad for the body, what's good and bad for the mind. So, if someone has hurt you, you start to see that person as your enemy. And you think, Yes. And that creates a deep impression in your mind. And every time when you are chanting, it comes up again. Comes up again. You cannot concentrate on the chanting. You are in this duality, attachment and aversion. That we had in the this attachment and aversion. This attachment and aversion, you have heard from Jai and Vijay, from the Bhagavatam, the story of Jai and Vijay, who were cursed by the 4 Kumaras to come to the material world to fight with Lord Narayan, to give him a fight. And anyway, they were cursed by the 4 Kumaras, and you have the choice. They come 7 times to the material world as devotees, or they come only 3 times, but they would be absorbed in great enmity of the Lord. That and they would concentrate on the Lord with great enmity. So this enmity gives such a strong concentration, but for them it was fixed on the Lord. Therefore, that purifies you. Anyway, it's a pastime. But they appear 3 times like that, als Hiranyaksha en Hiranyakashipu, als Dantavraka, Sisupal, dat als Lotram en Raven, sorry, als Ram en Lotram en Kumbhakarnam, fighting with Ram, of course. That, yeah. But they were fixed in this enmity. So this enmity makes one fix on something very strongly. And if you see someone as your enemy, then you cannot get peace. So in the Bible it is, yes, you have to forgive others, and then God will forgive you. But here in the Bhagavad Gita, we get much more details on that. So yes, Ksama means Prabhupada writes, forgive the offenses of others. Don't tolerate them. Don't take them serious. If you don't let them go, it will block your spiritual advancement, because it will come again and again, and you cannot get rid of this duality. And we must get rid of this desire and hate. If we get rid of this desire and hate, we open our heart to receive Krishna's love. So that's an important lesson to learn. That because this desire and hate, or this good and bad, are illusions. We went to so many lifetimes. We don't remember them. Krishna remembers them. So many lifetimes. And in these lifetimes, we had so many problems and enemies. What, do you remember the enemies of your last life? But in previous life, it was a very serious thing, this enemy. So if you look it from life to life, it's not so serious. We are soon out of this body. Soon we have to leave this body. So let this go. Let it go. And that's important. That but to let them go, sometimes it's too strong. We cannot let them go. That therefore we have to hear the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam helps on different levels, but it tells us about the fertility of material life, the fertility. It's all temporary, it's so over. We think you have problems in relationships, and you think always about these problems of these relationships. That I remember that this is 20 years ago. My mother had Alzheimer's disease. And one day I called her, and my sister took the phone, and she gave the phone to my mother. And I spoke to my mother, and my mother gives the phone to my sister and says, I don't know this person. Where is your relationship? It's gone. One moment or another, she doesn't know you anymore. Gone. It's also temporary, fleeting. It's not important. We become so absorbed in these temporal things of business and so on that, but yeah, we have to do it out of duty. It's like Lord Chaitanya says to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath was a young boy at that time. He met Lord Chaitanya after he just took sannyas. And after he met Lord Chaitanya, he became so absorbed in the beauty of Lord Chaitanya. And what was the result of becoming absorbed in Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, Chaitanya is Krishna. Become absorbed in Krishna. What's the result? That you become creative, you become completely disinterested in material life. Completely disinterested. And after meeting Lord Chaitanya, he came home. And his parents remarked the change in his behavior, that they had no interest in the business anymore and so on. Okay, they made a plan. They found a very beautiful girl, and he's arranged a marriage with the girl. And they were thinking, now we will be in family life and become attached, and that's good. That you see that many times also, that when you have a solicitation interview for a job, and when you are married, it's a positive point, because then the person will be dependent for the income for his family. And therefore, he will not so easily run away because he's attached. And they know that, and they give him the job. But when you are not married, yeah, they can go any moment, no attachment. So they try to attach him to family life. Okay, they married in, but then it didn't work, and Raghunath was living in Saptagram, not so far from Panihati, Saptagram. And then Lord Chaitanya came to Panihati. And he went to see, Raghunath went to see Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya told him, look, because Raghunath said, I just want to leave my family, I want to be with you. Well, Lord Chaitanya, don't do that. You stay at home. But internally, you are like a paramour who has a lover, a lady who has a lover, and the husband doesn't know it. So she does her household chores very nicely so that the husband doesn't become suspicious. But internally, she's always thinking of her lover. So he said, you're doing the same way that you're internally. You think always, externally, you do your business with your father and you say, yes, every nice. But internally, you think always on your service of Radha and Krishna, internally. So Raghunath tried to do that. But he couldn't do it. It's such, he had no attraction for this experience. And therefore, he tried to escape, and they put guards upon him. And anyway, that's a whole story. But that is the advice. Externally, we do all these things, but internally, we should be with Radha and Krishna. But if we are absorbed in this duality, we cannot be internally with Radha and Krishna. We will be with our problems. And that's the issue, why we cannot concentrate and why we don't become purified. That because this duality is a concoction of the mind. What's good for the body, what's good for the mind, what's bad for the body, what's bad for the mind. It's an invention. And people speak about it's good and bad, but it's all invention. His Holiness Radhanath Goswami gives always that example. I heard him a few times speak about that. That it's an whole old Chinese story. In old China, there was a farmer in a village. Everyone knows everyone in a village. And this farmer has a horse. And one day, the horse runs away. And all the villagers said, that's bad. He lost his horse, and he needed his horse to work on the land. It's very bad. 3 days later, the horse came back with 2 other horses, wild horses. All the villagers said, that's very good. Now he has 3 horses. But then the son of the farmer tried to tame these 2 new wild horses. And while doing that, he broke his leg. And all the villagers said, that's bad. Now he broke his leg. He cannot do any work anymore. 3 days later, a representative of the emperor came to draft young people into the army of the emperor. And the man saw the condition of the son, that he had a broken leg. And said, no, he cannot go into the army. And all the villagers said, that's good. Yeah, he doesn't have to go to the army. So one moment is good, and a few days later is bad. The same thing. That it's just a concoction of the mind. We think it's good and how bad. But factually, everything in this world is bad. Because all attachment in this world also is in this material world. Instead, we have to learn, educate ourselves what's good and bad for the soul. That good and bad for the soul. And that's explained by Rupa Goswami in the Upadesamritam. There are 6 things we have to avoid. Atyara prayasasya prajalpanyamagam sangotyara. Now, jana sangha salolyam sa sadbhir bhaktir anashati. 6 activities which destroy bhakti. Atyahara is trying to collect more than necessary. Prayas, endeavoring for things that are very difficult to obtain. Live simple. Live the bare necessities that we need. That, and Prajalpa, speaking about so many mundane topics like these villagers, that's all mundane. It's good, it's bad. Prajalpa Niyama Agra, the following regulative principles, not following or neglecting them, that we must follow the principles that causes us more and more to identify with the body and more into this duality. So if you are, and that's the 4 regulative principles, you must be merciful. Learn to be merciful. Don't eat meat, fish, and eggs. That's not merciful. That, you need to be austere, no intoxication. Then you need to be clean, no illicit sex, otherwise that pollutes the mind. That, and then, of course, truthfulness, not gambling, accepting the knowledge in the scriptures. What's good for the soul, what's good for the body. That, and avoid a bad association of materialistic people who are absorbed in this duality of good and bad. That it's whole society is like that. It keeps you in the body concept of life. But what's good for the soul, that's, Utsa Nishyada Yatat Karma Pavartanat, Sangatyara Satovite Sadbhir Bhaktir, Prashidati, good for the soul. That, and that means you have to be enthusiastic in spiritual life. Learn every day. Because if we don't learn from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Bhagavatam, we cannot come into the proper mood to be peaceful and chant. That the proper mood will only develop when we understand who we are. That why is that so important to understand who we are? That knowledge of who we are is called in Sanskrit Sambandha Jnana. But to understand who we are, we must know first who Krishna is. That who Krishna is, who we are, and what our relationship is. You have to go.
Come alone. My husband is working.
Yeah.
It's not very safe to go late.
Yeah, right. Hi, Krishna. Thank you for coming. That yes. It's important to know who Krishna is, because otherwise we cannot know who we are. that Krishna explains who we are in Bhagavad Gita. Mamaivam Shivelaku Shiva Bhuta Sanatana. The soul is a little part of Krishna. And our relationship is one of love. So to understand who Krishna is not an easy thing. Bhaktyam abhijanti yavyasasmi tattvatam. Krishna says you can only know me by devotion. But we don't have devotion. But we can learn it from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and its representatives. So yes, if we understand our position as a spirit soul, then we should not take this material realm, which is temporary, too serious. And therefore we should forgive these offenses of others to us, and don't take them so serious. Forgive your enemies, and your heart will go open. This is one aspect of devotional service, but it's important. Otherwise, we are absorbed in these dualities of desire and hate. And then you cannot get in contact with the divine. Therefore, it's a divine quality. Without that, it's not possible. Any questions?
Yeah, regarding the forgiveness, right? I mean, so for me especially, it's very difficult actually, right? Some things happened in the past, right? And some people hurt me. They took my wealth, they took my something, right? So when I start particularly chanting, right? So those things comes into my mind, and then I lost my peace, as you said, right? We lost our peace. Uh, Gradually over the years, that intensity has reduced, but it is not completely gone away. And I don't know how long it will be there with me. Uh, I'm making sure that it should not affect my chanting in the morning. But still, those thoughts are coming in the mind, and sometimes I'm not able to concentrate. And however, also if I sit quietly, right, so my mind is also not peaceful sometimes because of those thought comes. And so now actually if I think that, I mean, I cannot do anything about it right now. If I want to forgive, but that's okay, but still actually it's not easy for me right now. So how to deal with this situation now?
The the reason why you cannot deal with it is false ego. Your false ego does not allow you. The false ego is comes from anarthas, impurities in the heart. And attachment to things in this world is one of these anarthas. But it means we don't have realized our position yet, spiritual position. Because the soul has practically nothing to do with this world. And therefore you need to purify the heart. That the chanting will have full effect when we come to the clearing stage. But the clearing stage will only happen when we give up apparat, offenses. And like the thing is that, yes, this person has done that to me and so on, but you have to realize the fault lies in yourself, because this is only a reaction of your past activities. That requires humility, to recognize the fault lies in me. That and it's a process of purification, but that process will take place when we hear regularly the Bhagavatam. That brings us to our real ego, hearing the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita daily. Prabhupada said 2 hours a day. That and day by day it will go better, but it's a slow process. Prabhupada said it's a slow process of devotional service. Well, that's Rupa Goswami was said, slow process of devotional service. Like every day you look in this in the mirror. Every day you are one day older, but you don't see it. If I see my picture of yesterday and today, I don't see difference. But still, you have changed. So many cells have changed. That's also where the practice of devotional service. It's like you don't see it, but if you chant every day and every day hear Prabhupada, you should constantly hear Prabhupada practically everywhere where you can. These lectures are so powerful. And they break down this false ego day by day. That and when it breaks down, then you healthy, you will be able to let these things go, and don't take them so serious. That they are not serious, but it's your contaminated minds who makes them serious. Because the soul has nothing to do with the possessions you have been taken away. That's all. All not so important. That possessions will come and go. That Lakshmi's Chancellor comes and goes. But we should not be affected by these things. That you will, if you are engaged in devotional service, Krishna will assure you have always what you need. Not what you want, but what you need. That so we need to build trust in that. But day by day, that because you have the subtle body has the mind, intelligence, and false ego. That's the third element. But the false ego is there because the mind and intelligence is contaminated by this duality we are discussing today. If this duality is completely removed, this anartha is removed, there's no false ego anymore. Because the mind and the intelligence is spiritualized. By that the material, that's it. If the mind and the intelligence are spiritualized, is the death of the subtle body. Then your spiritual body becomes active again. Then there is no false ego. But that takes a while. I heard from devotees who were Prabhupada disciples, who were practicing for 50 years. I didn't yet get liberation, but they are very close to it. But their false ego is nearly gone. But it takes a while. But it goes better day by day. But, yeah, and that makes us stronger also. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Good.
Answers the question.
Thank you very much. I was happy to be with you. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.